Welcome to Sacred Stories, everyone. It's so beautiful to be together in sacred community, and it's such an honor to be in conversation with Puja Sue Flamm today. Thank you for
Thank
creating time
you.
in your schedule, to be with us, and a giant shout out to Robin Wald, the first Sacred Stories guest that I recorded who connected the two of us. So just amazing people lifting each other up. It's an honor. So thank you.
Yes.
Um, as as is our as is our ritual, I'm going to bring us into sacred space together. So I'm going to invite us to get comfortable in our chair or just settle into our bodies if we're moving out in the world. To take a beautiful deep breath in and to let it out. And as we take another deep breath in, invite you to feel the arms of love encircling your heart. Feel them wrapping around the front of your heart and feel them encircling the back of your heart too. Feel the sense of love filling your being. A love that feels so whole and so complete and so all embracing and so whole that it emanates from your being out into the world. Like you have a giant radius of love surrounding you. And feel yourself moving through the day from this place of overflowing and expanding compassion and gentleness and softness. To remember that we have the ability to tap into this beautiful force that can transform and elevate and remind us of who we truly are in our essence. Invite us now to take one more beautiful deep breath in, breathing in love. And as we exhale, allow love to emanate from our being as we come into sacred space together. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes if you want. Let your eyes gently flutter open. Thank
That
you for
was lovely.
joining us in that. Yeah. Oh, so Puja, you and I have already shared a Zoom call, getting a chance to talk to each other. And so much of what you shared in your words and in your stories, I was like, yes, resonating with it so deeply. And I think what makes Sacred Stories so special for me is that in listening to other stories, we hear our own. And so I'm just really excited about where this conversation is going to take us. And you asked for me to introduce you today. We're going to depart from tradition. So I'll share a little bit about you and then we'll go into your sacred story. Puja Sue Flamm has been a yoga teacher for more than 35 years. She is an author of 2 books, one on restorative yoga and one on cultivating joy and inner peace. She has taught around the globe in more than 10 different countries. She is a spiritual seeker and teacher walking the path of love. It's the only
Thank you so
game in
much.
town. It's the only game in town. That's what I was. I'm just gonna invite you. We'll start with your sacred story and we'll see where the conversation takes us. What is a sacred story that you feel like has really shaped your life?
Well, first, I just want to tell you how grateful I am to be here. I just feel so blessed to have met you, and thank you also to Robin and just community that just we are so connected around the globe. It's incredible how small world it is, and
So true.
I'm just
Yeah.
so grateful to be here and be able to share with you and with the community. So thank you
Right
for this
there with you.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, my life is a sacred story. I think all of our lives are sacred stories, and we just keep coming in and out of so many beautiful lessons and learnings and openings and everything that is experienced in the human being. You know, we get to experience so much, and recently I have experienced a lot of loss. I lost both my parents in this last, I just actually passed the anniversary of my mother's death just a few days ago, actually.
Wow.
She died. Yeah. Yeah. And that was very powerful. And actually after that anniversary, it really brought me into what I had been sharing with you a little bit about trying to control everything, with my mind, trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of where I've made that shift after that of dropping into listening inside to really hear, is this right for me or is this not right for me? And working from that place of the mind, trying to figure it out, I got myself into some hot water because I didn't really listen to what was going on inside and started thinking, oh my God, it's COVID and my trainings have been canceled and I should really try to do something online. And then someone contacted me about marketing me online. And I thought, okay, so I paid this person and we did this whole thing together and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But I never really listened inside to feel like, was that right for me? Or was I just thinking, oh, this happened, so I should get online because everyone's doing everything online.
Yeah.
And I actually think I will do some things online, but I wasn't ready. And I didn't listen inside to the signals that were happening.
Yeah. And I feel like I heard the word should. You said it at least 2 times, maybe more, right? Like, and that's something that I'm dancing with in my life too. Like, this should have happened by now. That's one that comes up a lot, like the timelines we impose on ourselves. So, yeah, to be able to recognize that. So, can you break this down for us a little bit? When you talk about the practice of dropping into your body and listening from there, what does that look like? How do you do it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's a constant practice because see, now I'm feeling more connected. There's times when I'm not feeling connected and times when I am feeling connected. And it's being able to discern, am I connected or not? And sometimes I will even hear something, but I don't always listen
Right.
because, my mind is like, oh, well, you should do that. Or, that whole should thing is really a mind thing.
Uh-huh.
So how I do that is, I do practice daily. I do practice yoga. I do practice meditation. I do practice mantra. There are some days that I don't practice, but I like to practice every day if I can.
Yeah.
So that's one way. And taking the time to just sit and listen, it actually doesn't take that much time. But sometimes when my life in the world gets just very busy, I don't take the time that I might need to and focus on that particular thing. So I might be doing my practice, my physical asana practice, but maybe I'm forgetting to, I do my practice, I do my shavasana, and then I go, but maybe in my practice, though, I'm listening to my body and I'm stretching and connecting, and maybe I'm not asking the right questions, like, how are you doing? How is my little girl feeling? Am I feeling settled inside? Or am I feeling off? And that's actually in the prescriptions for joy. That's one of the prescriptions. My second book that just came out is ask yourself a few times a day. We teach what we need to learn. So all my books and all my writing is all like, like there are things that I like to do and I need to do and I love to do and love to practice, but we just forget. I think we're just very forgetful as humans. And especially like now there's just you open your email, there's just so many emails, and if you are on any kind of social media, there's just so much coming at us all the time. So it's listening inside, but also I think dropping in with that intention of feeling what's happening on different levels about different things that are going on. So it's not just, it's like, okay, well, maybe looking at each of those things that I'm doing in my life, there's just always so much going on. And I think what happens is when we get ruffled, and when I get ruffled inside, I get thrown off and I forget to come back and really tune in about specific issues. So steps are like noticing that we're not connected, or we're feeling overwhelmed, or we're just all over the place. And then taking a time, okay, I'm going to take even just 10 minutes. I'm going to sit and I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to put my journal in my hand or something to write on, and maybe make a list of what's going on. Like actually just before our meeting, I was feeling quite scattered with a lot of things. So I sat down and did a meditation, and it helped me just to come back to myself and recenter. So it doesn't actually take that much time. And that's what the prescriptions for joy are too. It's like, how do we just connect back to ourselves? There's like 93 ways in there, like.
Yeah. And I have the book right here. It's really wonderful. Puja will share how we can get it afterwards. But yeah, they're just really simple, little, beautiful invitations. So when you were, right before we hopped on this call, and you were doing a meditation that was centering yourself, help us break this down a little bit. Is it asking yourself what emotions you're feeling? Like, how are you shifting from your head into, your intuition or your heart space? Like, how do you do that for yourself?
Well, one thing that is just like the really go-to key is the breath. When we come to the breath, it quiets the mind right away. What I actually did, quite honestly, right before was I'm doing, and I've done this already a couple of times, but I'm doing the Deepak Chopra 21 Days of Meditation. Yes. It's going around for free, but it came around in Spanish. So I decided to do it again in Spanish because it helps me with my Spanish. I live in Spain.
I was going to say, let's tell people that you're in Spain right now. Yes.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I live in Spain. I've lived here for 11 years, though I'm originally from New York. And so because I'm doing a lot of things in Spanish, I'm always working to improve it. I did that meditation that was led. It was a led meditation. So sometimes it's helpful to listen to someone that's leading a meditation, and there's so much available on Insight Timer, that are free, on YouTube. There's just so much out there. I also do my own, I work with the mala. I do mantra on the mala. So each bead is a mantra, and that can be many different things. And that also is very centering. So I did that abundance meditation, and I did the mantra on the mala, which was Sat Chit Ananda was the mantra that it was, which does not really necessarily but connect with what I'm going through at the moment, though in a way maybe it does. But it just calmed me, and it just centered me, and it brought me back to my center. And then another thing that I do is I pray. I ask, please help me.
Yeah.
I ask my guides, angels, and now my mom. I ask my mom. Because as I was also sharing was that I don't know if I shared it before or now, that I've been dealing with a lot of loss.
Yeah.
Both my parents, a very dear friend, and all within a year.
A beloved pet too, yeah.
And a kitty, yes, and a kitty, and then my daughter's going to be leaving for university. So I'm a single mom, so I'm going to be on my own. Yeah. I'm going to be alone on my own with my kitty, who's my daughter's kitty actually, but eventually she'll be going with my daughter as well. This is a different kitty, and it's just like a huge transformation happening. Like what is life? This is another kind of, it's actually all related to the same thing I was talking about this control thing. Yeah. Wanting to control with our mind, wanting to control, and life showing me I am not in control.
Yep.
I am not in control of when my parents are leaving. I am not like, okay, so they were old. My dad was, 96 or 97. My mom was 90, so I am not in control of when they're leaving. But then my friend Marina, who was, 57, she was very young. So it's not like it doesn't make sense. I can't figure it out. It's
Yeah.
not something to be figured out. It's something to be experienced, accepted, and surrendered to, and just being open to what life is offering us.
Yeah. You wrote so beautifully, Puja, about how the grief and the practice of really opening ourselves to grief opens us to new things. And um, it's not just grief, it's when we're able to really listen in and to hear that a set of circumstances wants to take us somewhere. And if we can surrender to being led and to listening, then some magic can come in. I mean, I'm thinking about
Yes.
this, even I've shared a little bit, like I just got knocked on my tush for a month from my third virus of the year that I've had this year. And all spirit was saying was, oh, you're not going anywhere right now. And it was really hard. Not just to not be able to work, but to not be able to move my body and not to be able to be in nature the way that I love, which is like so restorative for me. And I've been doing a lot of inner listening now about like where this experience is meant to take me. And I certainly haven't figured it all out. I'm still kind of in the soup of it a little bit, but getting glimmers for sure. Um, and so, yeah, I'm thinking too about the balance of like when we have these experiences that flatten us, or even just things that feel hard or sticky. How do we kind of sit and open to feeling the fullness of it, and then transition into what am I meant to hold with me from this, or learn from this, or allow it to lead me somewhere new? Do you have thoughts about that in terms of like not wanting to jump too fast to the lessons, but also to stay open to them?
Yeah. Well, interestingly, just talking about grief,
Yeah.
I kind of have this kind of way that I've been thinking about it. It's like grief is a very interesting thing because it kind of has its way. It has its way with me. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it exactly, but
Yeah.
it just comes in
Yeah.
and takes over,
Yeah.
has its way with me, and then leaves.
Yeah.
Now, I think that some things we need to be open to experience,
Yeah.
like the raw emotion, the raw feeling, the rawness of whatever it is. And with grief, because I've had definitely people have died in my life, very close friends and things, but so many things right in a row. And my
Mm,
parents, it was just very
yeah.
strong, especially
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
mom. And that grief would just, it's not happening as much as it was, and because it's been a year now, so but it would just come in and overtake me, and I would be like just at the grocery store, and all of a sudden I'm crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think and I think this is something that I teach a lot, is just embracing the moment, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I teach a lot of restorative yoga, and that's a lot of what I teach, is just being with what is. And it might not look pretty, or it might look very pretty, or it could look so many different ways. And I just think accepting the moment as it is, with as much empathy, kindness, compassion as is possible, for me is what I practice, what I practice and what I teach. And when that happens, and when we are in the moment and experiencing and embracing, I think magical things do and can happen.
Mm,
Transformations or insights come in, um, and just in the living of our lives and the experiences, magical things do come, and light comes in with the dark. So it's all like a mix.
yeah. Elizabeth Gilbert has spoken really beautifully about grief as well. And I remember in one of her TED Talks, she was speaking about losing her partner, Rhea. And she described grief as like this tidal wave that gives you about 2 seconds of warning before you're meant to like hit your knees, be on the floor and just let it like rock you. And what you're talking about, you know, whether it's in the grocery oil or aisle or on your bathroom floor or wherever, like so like that. So are you willing to share some of the magic that has happened by being able to sit with the feelings?
Well, I'd like to share something magical that happened around my friend's
Yeah,
Marina's death,
yeah.
who actually, she helped me a lot with this book. She found out 3 months before she died that she had this very aggressive appendix cancer.
Wow.
And so it was like very short time that it all happened. And right before she found out, I was talking to her about the book, and she said, "Oh, I really want to help you with that." And in those last 3 months, she helped me with the editing of it. And it was very, very powerful to have that special time with her at the
Yeah,
end of her
she's like
life.
in the
And
book.
such an,
Wow.
she
I mean,
is,
she's woven into it. Yeah.
she's woven into it. And she was a woman, a very, very special woman. And she loved dragonflies. Like that was like her totem. And she was always, and she had a dragonfly tattooed over here
Huh?
on her arm.
Huh?
And dragonflies are, I always love them too, but you
Yeah.
know, so anyway, I just very associate dragonflies with her. So
Huh?
she had a big community, and I offered to lead. Because of COVID, we couldn't have like you know, a funeral or whatever. And also I'm in Spain. People were all around the world, different places in the world also, but we couldn't come together for the ceremony. So I offered to do a Zoom
Yeah.
ceremony, you know, talk. So we had like 13 people, and we're talking, and I had already shared, and then I had forgotten to share about the book. So all of a sudden, as I'm leading this meeting,
Yeah.
and this has never ever happened to me in my life, a dragonfly flew into my window, and all of a sudden my cat starts jumping up. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? What is
Yeah.
that? A dragon? Now I have never ever in all my years had a dragonfly fly into my house,
Yeah.
and I'm telling you, that was her. And
Yeah.
she was saying, the book, don't forget to tell them about the book. And then I told everyone, because everyone knows this, I said, you guys are not going to believe this. But Marina just flew in on the dragonfly and told me. So then I got the book and I showed them, and I explained that she had helped me and everything. And then the dragonfly, I actually had to kind of let it out, because it was like flying around in here, and I just wanted to leave because I was worried my kitty was going to get it.
Right.
But you know, it's kind of interesting. This is like, I've spent a lot of time with Native Americans
Yeah.
and doing ceremony. And I did that with her. We spent a lot of time doing ceremony together. And we worked with this one medicine family, and they had this ceremony where it was called the 5-stick, where you could ask any question to find out where something was. And what
Oh,
they said was that the medicine man spoke to the Spider Nation and would ask the Spider Nation where this thing was, my grandfather's gold watch or whatever it was,
right.
because spiders are everywhere and they're all connected. So he would talk with the Spider Nation. Well, Marina talked to the Dragonfly Nation,
Yeah.
and she sent a dragonfly, and that was magical. That was a magical moment. It was
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about these kinds of moments is that they're so powerful and profound, and yet also like so beautiful, so radically simple too. And that if we're
Yes.
not paying attention, then we miss them. I
Yeah.
mean, a dragonfly is a little harder to miss, but
Yes.
you could have just thought, oh, there's something buzzing around. I mean,
Yes.
let's just share like a little Jewish nugget. So
Yes.
there are lots of different names for the divine that we find in the Torah. And one of them is dew, like DEW, like
Ah.
the moisture on the grass.
Mhm.
The Hebrew word is tal. So like the name Talia, you might have, like the woman's name Talia is
Mhm.
dew of the divine, literally.
That's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. But one of the reasons that I love this name to describe the infinite is that it's so subtle. And if we're just like moving fast through the world, we miss it. And that it also like disappears during the heat of the day and then comes back again at night. Like there's such a like effervescent subtlety to it that just speaks to the depths of my being. So yeah, that's such a beautiful dragonfly story. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of symbols and signs that we can ask to be shown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes we can, you know, there's symbols and things that are happening all the time, but I think you're right. We don't pay attention, and then they disappear like the dew. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
But I think there are symbols and signs during our day, whether they're something we feel inside or something we see outside. I think there's a communication that's happening with life when we're attuned to it.
Yes. Yes. And it's this dialogue between energy or that which is beyond the physical world, and then our own spirit that are, I feel like, in this sacred conversation. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you. You shared a little bit about being at your mother's death and how it was like being at a birth, only in the
Right.
opposite direction.
Yes.
Are you open to sharing a little bit about that?
Sure. It was such an honor to be able to go and be with her before she left, because I flew from Spain. Obviously, she was in New York, and yeah, in those moments, I really felt like I was singing to her. Um, Let go into the hands of love. Let go into the hands of light. Let go into the hands of love. Let go into the hands of love. Let go into the hands of love. Holy, holy. And I was singing that to her, let go into the hands of love, let go into the hands of light, and just keep telling her that it was okay to let go, because she was kind of like I could feel she was resisting a little bit.
Yeah.
Leaving. There was a resistance there. And I didn't know that. I found out later that my daughter had asked her to wait for her. My daughter was in Barcelona finishing some recording. I had no idea that had happened, that she was asking her that.
Yeah.
And now I'm because I kept telling my mom, everyone's fine.
Yeah.
You know, everyone loves you. But I'm thinking maybe that was part of it. But when she finally did take her last breath, and it was actually incredible. She took kind of 2 exhales, and in that moment she was gone, and I did feel the worlds open. I did feel the like I had been at a number of births, and I felt like the midwife in the opposite direction. I'm not a midwife, but spiritually, I felt in the births that I was at, there's a portal that opens and spirit comes in. And I felt the same thing. And when she left, I felt like a portal opened and her spirit went out, but it was in the room.
Yeah.
I felt her energy in the room. It was palpable. She was so present, and it was very, very powerful. And when she died, her mouth was like this, open.
Yeah.
And I tried to close it because I thought, well, like she's looking like, it looks a little like,
right.
I couldn't, it was like stuck. It was like hard.
Wow.
And she had just died. It wasn't like, like rigor mortis had set in.
Right.
Yeah. And then like a couple hours later, she was like this.
Oh my goodness.
Smiling. She was smiling. Her mouth closed and there was a smile on her face. I have some photos. It's like incredible.
Oh, Puja. Oh.
It was incredible. And I told one of the hospice nurses about it, and she said that she had seen that before. Yeah. And so that was just like a beautiful sign.
That somehow the physical body shifts once the soul is.
I think I've heard that there's like it takes time for the soul to totally leave the body. I forget how much time, but I felt like when that happened, like she was still leaving through, I don't know where it leaves, through the mouth or something, but the breath, I mean, the exhale, is every time we exhale, it's a letting go. So maybe, I don't know, but it was very, very, very powerful and very special.
Yeah. And I have thoughts, but I feel I don't even want to speak. I just want to sit with what you just shared. I mean, I'm thinking too about the fact that it takes the soul a while to leave the body. That's not something that I've heard before, and just the power of, when our soul is so deeply nestled within this physical vessel, it would make sense that it would take a bit of time. There's something
Yeah.
profound happening. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that in babies, the soul coming in
Yeah.
also. Sometimes I feel like it takes, I mean, they're there, but I mean, I've done a lot of pre-postnatal yoga, so the
Uh-huh.
postnatal yoga, and it's always so fascinating to see how the babies come in, like their personalities, like there. I mean, it's just incredible. Like
Yeah.
they're here with their work to do. And
Yeah.
but sometimes I feel, and I felt that with, with other people too, even grown-ups, that they're not totally in their body. Like there's some part of them that's not quite there, but I don't know. I think I've heard that also, that sometimes it takes a little while, and part of those first days, like the soul is still coming into the body to totally inhabit. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's just both ways. I don't, we don't really know, but
Yeah.
these are
Well, the
just,
magic is that we don't get to know totally, but I love thinking about it. Are there ways that
yeah.
you have felt your mom, her presence, or ways that she's continuing to teach you, or experiences of connection that you've had with her during this past year?
Definitely. I feel very connected to her. I just had and have such a love for her, and I feel like she's with me. I
Yeah.
feel like she's really with me, and she's very close with my daughter. I feel like she's with both of us, actually.
Yeah.
And I just feel her energy. Like she was such a support and loving presence in my life. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people are very close with their mother. I just loved my mother so much, and I just felt that she loved me unconditionally, and I still feel that.
Mm.
So I feel her presence with me, and I just feel her smiling on me. I just feel
Yeah.
her smiling on me.
Yeah. What an incredible gift. What an incredible gift. I mean, so many people don't have they don't receive unconditional love from a parent, and we create other ways to experience it, but to actually have that from your mom.
She's a very special being, my mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
I do miss her a lot. I do really miss her. I miss her presence here. I mean, it's kind of funny when she's not here. Like when she was here, I could visualize myself like hugging her, holding her, but now it's just like
right.
it's like air. I
Right.
can't. I
Yeah.
mean, there is a difference. She's not physically here on the planet. And it's such a mystery, this life and the planet and being in a human body and how it all works in this interesting matrix that we're living in.
Yeah.
So
And I've
she's
been,
definitely,
no, I'm sorry, you finish.
no, she's definitely not in physical form anymore.
I was just going to say that, today, are you familiar with, it's like a daily email called Notes from the Universe? Have you heard of that before?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
It's like such a delicious little treat. It's a daily email.
Hmm.
Highly recommend. It's very playful, and it's, kind of all about metaphysics. And today's was just about that, like time and space are these human constructs that we use to, try to bring some sort of structure or understanding to things, but like they're just our own little human brains, like trying to make sense of stuff. And so I was thinking about that vis-a-vis your mom, and the way that she's able to be there with you and with your daughter, but not in
Right.
physical, but still there energetically, and how we even start to wrap our minds around that. Um,
And
it's beautiful and
I,
frustrating and a mystery and everything. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's like, you know, I mean, if you, great spirit or God or goddess or whatever you believe in, or the angels, like they're with us all the time. They can be with me and with you and with, everybody,
Yeah.
like those energies are available. And like the energy of love is available to everyone all the time. or, all these energies are available. So it's so fascinating. I think it's just so fascinating, but I do believe that we can call on energies and connect with energies, but we have to ask.
Yeah. I'm going to try to tie two things together. We'll see if it works. I'm thinking
Okay, go
about this
ahead.
idea of surrender,
Yes.
which we started our conversation with today. And then your beautiful book, 93 Prescriptions for Joy. And I'm interested in your thoughts on, is there a way that, like, fully surrendering, letting go gracefully, as you said, opens you up to joy in different, deeper ways?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because if we're surrendered and we are just allowing life to flow through and with us, then we're in joy. If we're not resisting what is and embracing what is, though we might enter into moments of difficult moments within that surrender, I think joy, if not in that moment, afterwards can be cultivated and can be felt in just so many simple ways. Like there's so many simple ways to cultivate joy. Like just this evening, the sun was going down and the clouds were turning colors. I think I am really connecting with those simple things
Yeah.
that nature is just brings us so much joy
Yeah.
just by connecting with nature.
Yeah. I'm thinking, one of the beautiful things about these conversations too is that because we're each a rainbow, of different types of human beings, like we all get to find our own path. And as I've spoken to different people, for some it's through nature, for some it's through music, for some it's through journaling, for some it's through yoga, for others it's through breath work, for some
Right.
it's through dancing, right? Like all of, like, we
Yes,
get to claim it for ourselves. It's so
definitely.
powerful. Yeah. I had a moment on a bike ride last summer, um, where I had just gotten my knickers in a knot about life, something, I don't know what it was. And I was able to connect to surrender. I was able to shift my energy and get into a place of just like really opening myself up to, um, letting the universe take it. And I was probably, I like to like yell things while I'm riding my bicycle. It's very like, sorry. So I was probably screaming like, you take me, like take this, like you got it. And it felt so freeing, Puja, because I realized that, I didn't have to worry about it. Like there was, a path for me to open into, trusting that I will get what I need. It
Mhm.
also requires a deep inner listening and soul integrity. But yeah, it felt so expansive. Felt so expansive.
I think we are all getting what we need, though sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was just saying this actually to an upcoming Sacred Stories guest. I feel a little bit like right now, and we're recording this kind of mid-October, that the world is chewing me up and spitting me out a little bit, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Like I feel the richness in it, and
Yeah.
it's not ponies and rainbows, but it feels like so profoundly important. So yeah,
Yeah.
being able to
And
surrender to that.
for anyone who's listening to this now in these next few months, I mean, I've heard from so many different sources that through the end of this year,
Yeah,
we're all facing so much big things, big lessons, just excavating and rebuilding and opening for 2021, which I mean, it's always nice to have something to look forward to, which supposedly is going to bring in a whole different kind of energy. So um, that's something that can bring joy, is having something to look forward to, even if it's just like, oh, I'm going to be getting together with a friend to go for a walk.
mm-hmm.
Something that's uplifting that's coming in the future. That's one way to cultivate joy.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, thank
And
you.
there's so many ways. And
And
as you were saying, unique to each of us.
And I think we often feel like, or sometimes we feel like it needs to be complicated, or that we need to set aside, so much time or be very diligent in the practice, but I find that when I'm able to just sprinkle it in and take those moments to breathe and to be present. I mean, I'll just share, like, in my own life, I was doing a Jessica home workout this morning, and I was able to talk to my bestie. She inspired this, the opening blessing meditation that I led us in about connecting to love. And we were talking about building conscious relationships and spiritually aligned romantic relationships. And just that conversation of seeing, like, the transformation my friend was embodying so beautifully, and then thinking about it in my own life and having company while I was having a workout, like the whole thing was just so delicious and beautiful. So yeah, like being able to sprinkle in those little nuggets of sweetness. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I would love for you to lead us in a meditation to cultivate some joy, whatever way
I
you
would love to.
find. Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful.
All right. So let's just close our eyes and bring our awareness to our breath, to your breath, and just allow your breath to flow in and out. Let's just deepen a little bit as you notice your breath. And just notice where your breath is moving in and out of your body. And see if you can allow it to expand just a little bit more so that you're breathing all the way down to the floor of the pelvis and all the way up into the tops of the shoulders. And then let the exhale be gentle and long. And just a couple more breaths like that, just long, expansive breaths. And then let your breath to the next exhale just come to normal, breathing in and out. When we connect to the breath or the body and the breath live in the moment. The mind lives in either the past or the future. So when our minds are very busy, simply by focusing on the breath, the mind quiets. Just breathing 4 times consciously can shift us into a whole different state and a different moment. So I'd like to invite you to think of a time when you were feeling joy. And think of what was happening. When was that time? Maybe sometime today, or sometime in the distant past, or sometime in the near past. And just take a moment to find that place. What were you doing? Who were you with? Where were you? And as you think of this time and go over it again in your mind, I want to invite you to literally smile, like what we call like a Buddha smile. Just let your lips, the corners of your lips, turn up. Smile as fully as you feel drawn to. When we smile, actually, the smile itself releases hormones in our body, endorphins that make us feel good. So, by the simple act of smiling, we're already cultivating that joy. And then become aware of maybe 2 or 3 things in your life that bring you joy. Maybe it's meeting a friend, or the memory you just had. Maybe it's riding your bike and screaming out loud, like you were saying, Jessica, or maybe it's sitting quietly What is it that brings you joy? And then I want to invite you to just in this moment become aware of what you're grateful for. Because the practice of gratitude is such an incredible joy bringer. So, what is it or who is it that you are grateful for in this moment? And notice that when you're becoming aware of what you're grateful for or thinking of these joyous moments, that your heart opens, that joy and gratitude connect you to your heart center. And then just very gently bring your hands to your heart and let them rest just in any way that feels right to you on the center of your chest, your heart chakra, your heart center. And just repeat to yourself inside, I am here with you, and your name. I am here with you. And feel your own attention connecting you with yourself in this moment. And then once again, connect back to your breath. And as you feel ready, allow yourself to release your hands. That feels right. Just gently let your eyes open. So I'm wondering what you felt, what joy brought to you.
Oh, that was such a gift. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
As we were concluding, I was thinking, can I just do this all day long, please? Like, all I want to do is just dance in spiritual realms forever. It's such a fun place to play. Um, I was thinking, I was thinking about that in just 4 breaths, we're able to kind of repattern our nervous system and come back home. That felt powerful. I was thinking about the power of presence, and and being present, and then at the very end, the repetition of "I am here with you." Whew. Yeah, that I don't even know if I can put words to what that does for me. It feels like a divine lover. That's what it feels like.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah,
You are your divine lover.
it's true. Yeah, yeah,
Were you able to connect with things that bring you joy?
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay, good.
I was. And my gratitude, actually, what came into my heart for that was like, holy moly, I can't believe that the way that we get to serve our communities um, and touch people is by having these kinds of conversations. Like, this is what I get to do with my life. Like,
So
how did I
awesome.
manage to finagle this amazing magic? So I was very in touch with just the beautiful conversation that we've shared today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very special.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I just thank you. I just really enjoy talking to you. You have an incredible energy
Hmm.
and such a really a very positive and deep and wise. And I just love talking to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank
So anytime you want to have a
It's a
conversation,
deal. Maybe we'll do
I'm
a part
there.
2 soon. Yes. Yeah. That's interesting. I am such an optimist and deeply positive, and it's both very innate, but it's also something I cultivate. So like all
Mhm.
of the things we talked about, it's a practice, with gentleness and softness and compassion, just coming back home to these beautiful reminders of surrender and of joy and of trust and staying open to magic and overflowing compassion with ourselves when we don't quite get there, and doing it again. Yeah. Yeah.
I love the sacred stories. I love this idea and concept. And I think it's so powerful to frame work our lives as a sacred story
Mm,
because our lives are a sacred story.
mm, mm.
And so just telling and
Yeah.
naming that and like sharing, it's just such a beautiful thing. I love what you do too.
Received. I'll take it. Yeah, well, may this chapter be filled with magic. That's what I have to say, even as we're getting, knocked down or tossed around a little bit. Yeah, to stay open to
Yes.
it. I wanna just invite you to share how folks can connect with you and any offerings that you have or ways people can reach you. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I have a website, pujayoga.net or sueflamm.com. So you can reach me there. And I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram. And also you can find my books. This is a book I wrote on restored book. Thank you for holding that up.
Yes.
It's in Spanish also. This book is in Spanish and in English. The 193 prescription is not yet in Spanish, but I'm planning to in the future. And they're both available on Amazon. And soon they'll be available too on my website. I'm redoing my website, but that's gonna be a little bit down the road. But please, if anyone feels inspired to reach out to me, I would love to hear from you. You can find me on Facebook and send me a friend request or on Instagram. So, or you can write me at pujasue@gmail.com. That's my email.
Thank you. I want to
Thank you
actually
so much.
read, yeah, I'm going to read prescription number 93, the last one, and then I'm going to
Awesome.
invite you to share with us just a closing blessing, and we'll bring our conversation to a close. This was my favorite of all of the prescriptions. This is number 93. Seventh chakra connection. Violet, the crown of the head, interconnection of all things. The fifth, and then there's words that I'm not going to be able to pronounce. Niyama, did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Ishvara, Pranidhana, get those? All
Pranidhana,
meaning surrender.
Ishwara Pranidhana. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Is part of the Eightfold Path of Ashtanga Yoga, written in the ancient yogic scriptures of Patanjali. Did I get that right too? Okay.
Patanjali. Mm-hmm.
Making my way through here. Patanjali. It is the practice of surrender, where you let go of what happened in the past or what will happen in the future, and instead trust in the perfection of your life at this moment. And as we breathe into the perfection of our lives at this moment in all of their beautiful complexity, do you have just a closing blessing that you would like to leave us with?
Yes. Can I just share one other
Of
thing?
course, you can share two more things if you'd like.
It's like when I wrote that book, I had a reading with a woman and she told me the 93rd prescription is going to be the most powerful one. And I mean, I wrote that, but the fact that you picked that out for you as your favorite, that was really cool. So
Oh,
thank you. That was just a confirmation of that because for me, that is also like such a powerful one.
oh
And
yeah.
so that was
Yeah,
like
it must be the
another
most.
magical moment.
It absolutely does.
Yes.
Must, yeah.
That's so cool. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I would love to lead us in a closing and closing our eyes once again. feeling again the gratitude of ability to share in these sacred ways together, to enter into conversation that spark inspiration, that cultivate love and joy. So I invite each and every one of us to open to the sacred story that is yours and to surrender to the perfection of the unfoldment of your life, and to know that as you walk your unique path, as we each have one, that the road will continue to appear in front of each one of us and take us each on a unique and special journey designed just for us. And with that, I say thank you for the opportunity to share together, to be together in this space of sacred stories.
Mm. Amen.
Thank you.
So may it
Yes.
be. So may it be. Thank you, Puja.
Happy.
Such an honor.
Thank you so much. Same.